I will target 9:30 because I do get it. Okay, statement of cash flow, relation to balance sheet and income statement, explains change between beginning and end of period. It explains what happened with your cash balance and why it changed. Financial statement users, again, internal. If you're an employee, you should be underwriting your own company because you want to know, do people leave? I mean, I know one person left. Oh, it's just smoking, okay. You want to underwrite your own company because you want to know certainty of employment continuing. Okay, GW. Okay, I know we have at least one GW employee in here. Is GW ever going away? No. We have a captive audience. Okay? Now, I do believe that there has been a proliferation of universities, and some universities need to go the way of dinosaurs. Okay? GW is not one of them. External, which gets back to my CFA friend left. Okay? Which wanted to go study. External is not directly involved in the company. Again, we talked about external users. And then the statement relationship. Okay, this is going to be a question on your, I guarantee you, on your quiz, which is 20% of your grade. I want you to be able to visually diagram the relationship between the statements. Okay, it is very important to me. People a lot of times don't understand that each of the statements actually interrelate. Your balance sheet 1, your balance sheet 2, the changes are described by the 3 periodic statements in the middle. You are in private equity. You understand how important the presentation and the financial presentation, and you know their massage. Okay, so the first thing I do when I start looking at statements is what's not right. And if they look like crap on the front end, I'm done. Okay? And if they look great, I'm like, okay, now what are they not telling? Okay, but I spend the time analyzing a statement that is well prepared. A statement that is not well prepared, unless it's an idea which is just, maybe something medical or something like that. Okay. Not that I do a whole lot of that now, but back in the day. Taxes, don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that because, again, many of you will be staying in the U.S. Financial statement analysis. Okay, FSA steps. I talked about that in the syllabus. What is my undergraduate degree? I do everything with a process. Okay, I approach problems the same way. I approach model development the same way. I approach portfolio optimization the same way every single time. Okay, when I was in commodities, okay, I made money on volume. I wanted to make a quarter basis point on trades. If I wanted to make more money, I would trade more. I wasn't looking for the home run, I was looking for volume. So, identify macroeconomic and competitive drivers. Like what I told you in Norristown, you're going to be doing 4 cases. I hope you do trade on your belief. Go visit the organization. Okay? Go visit. When I worked at the fund, I told you it was a real estate fund. I managed Chicago to Hawaii. Okay, my life was Monday, D.C., Tuesday, Manhattan, Wednesday, San Francisco, Thursday, Oregon, Friday, Chicago. Does anybody know why I always ended my week on Friday in Chicago? You're close, Morton. Okay. Okay. The home of Morton. Okay. So I would generally fly back late Friday or Saturday. Okay. It's funny, I had a couple of sites in Hawaii, and you may think it's romantic and all that to go to Hawaii, but it's a pain. You can actually be in Hawaii and Oahu by 4 p.m. their afternoon, leaving on the 6:20 U out. Okay, but it is exhausting even in business class. I'll never forget my clients who always say, Roger, we try and consolidate all of our meetings on a single day, and you still don't come. Okay? What did I say? I said, maybe that's the problem. And they're like, The next month, they had the first half of my meetings on Friday morning, the second half of my meetings on Monday afternoon. Did I show up? Yes. I got to spend my weekend at the cost of the pond in Hawaii. Okay, they had figured out how to get me there. Okay, plus they moved the meetings from monthly to quarterly so I could justify this extravagance. Do it monthly and I'll get a call. Identify individual firm strategies. Again, the chairman of Morristown, who I happen to think is a buffoon, Okay? Started in 2009. You want to read the annual reports? What were his strategies? Where has he failed? Okay, you also want to underwrite his credentials, okay? 2 years ago at the shareholder meeting, I said he wasn't qualified for his job. Okay? But he's not. Okay, but you need to come to that conclusion as well. Assess quality of firm's financial statements. Do they tell you something? Are they informative? Like CFA friend is back. How would you say that? Analyze profitability. You have to define what profitability is, and you have to quantify risk. The easiest way to quantify risk is range divided by 6. She loves you. She's going to love you more the more money you make. Okay? Again, range divided by 6. If you assume away outliers, range, maximum minus minimum. Range. The approximation of standard deviation is range divided by 6. It assumes away outliers. You guys should have already done that. Analyze profitability. Prepare pro forma statements. You will not, when you leave this class, if you've done the work, you will leave with the skills to create your own pro forma statements. It is critical to me that you have those skills. Okay? Skills are how you make money. Skills are how you make real money.
When you analyze the CEO or characteristics, or just like you go to see these are things that are hard to quantify. How does this relate to being quantified for the evaluation? Yeah. How do you get artsy with it?
Statistics is as much art as it is science. Okay, the same thing as investment. Okay, if you go there and people spit in your face, okay, it's probably not just your face they're spitting in; it's everybody's face. Okay, so let's assume that they have a low equity valuation, under $1. Okay, let's assume they're very undercapitalized, but they're an FDIC insured institution. Okay, that could mean that the Fed may take them over. Okay, they may be a good takeover risk for the FDIC. What is that going to do to the equity valuation? That could increase it. Okay, or if they're highly capitalized and they're spitting in your face, maybe they're not always going to be highly capitalized. I mean, there is a little bit of art. But how can you make an investment decision without, Warren Buffett, buys Coke and Pepsi or whatever. He drinks the product and invests what he likes. Go visit them. You all deal with banks here. You all deal with banks internationally. How are you treated when you go in? How are the people dressed? Do they take pride in their employment? Are they clean? Is the shirt stained? Okay, clearly they take no pride in themselves, which means they take no pride in their work. Okay, what university do I dress the best at? Of the three among the faculty. Who has the prettier students? I do get asked that question. I will give you a truthful answer. First of all, the older I get, you're all handsome and young. You're all attractive and young. Okay, I would say the older I get, the more I believe that. But you're all the same. Okay, and I would even say you're just as bright. There are different cultures and there's different personalities in each institution. Okay, this institution, I get to make statements like make money. I get to focus on, making money and profitability. Other universities, want you just to be smart. But one thing, again, I admire about George DeBoer is he wants to make it all capital.
Did you change the answer to that question?
You told me
Do I change the answer to that question? No, but I will focus on the positives of that institution. And I'm not going to say, hey,
Like, why were you dressed as?
oh, no, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that. I would tell you I wear suits to GW and I wear Hawaiian shirts to Hopkins.
Good thing.
Yeah, but Jabor wouldn't tolerate that. All right, or sure, he wouldn't, and nor should he. It's his program, not. But I'm trying to think the other. Hopkins has the worst administration, bureaucratic. The only thing the board cares about is you getting a skill set and understanding the material and being able to progress. Okay, which is great. Okay, and I have to do it in the professional realm. Hopkins, I have to do what they tell me to do. Okay, which means you don't have a whole lot of original thinking. Here you get a lot of original thought and an ability to move outside the line. say that. I would say that, at Georgetown, I just have a lot of freedom. Like, I have a lot of freedom here, but I have to be professional. There, I can be a little. Does that answer your question? This is the premier program, okay? Finance. Okay. This is the premier program. I don't quite say that, okay, at Hopkins that has an MS Finance, but I do tell people quietly, if you're serious, you need to come here. And how I say that is because they're already at Hopkins, that I say, you need diversity of resume. That's how it is. And then value firms, does that answer your question? Obviously, I'm a little biased. Macroeconomic, okay, climate and competition. Which is being sold, is it elastic or inelastic, okay? Think about it, a bank, when you go to Orangetown, you're gonna wanna know CD rates. What I would recommend doing is asking M&T, asking BB&T, asking B of A, locally in DC, what are their rates on CDs? Then go to Orangetown, because they're all FDIC insured, and ask what their rates are on CDs. And you know what? They're gonna have higher rates. Why would you invest in a local bank here, or, you know, a large national bank, when you can get higher rates at Orangetown, probably 20 to 25 bips? You guys are gonna be amazed. The same product with the same FDIC insurance is gonna earn you more at Orangetown than it does Bank of America in DC. Because who needs to deposit more? Orangetown. Same insurance. Why are you putting your money in CDs when you could go to Orangetown? Okay? Now, I wouldn't use their wealth advisors, okay? Then I would stay here, because in my opinion, you're gonna get greater talent. But compare the different rates and what they're offering you, okay? Build a matrix. You really want to impress me? Build a matrix. You can very simply call on the phone. Bank of America, BB&T, PNC, whatever. You know, put it together, you know, 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, probably not 10 years, but 5 year CD, and do a comparison.
In 5 years, I would be like, going for the credit portion and stuff.
But if it's less than 250, it doesn't really matter because you're guaranteed. Okay, it's the same FDIC insurance. I liquidated 20% of my portfolio today. And that's one of the things when you talk about FDIC insurance, make sure that when you liquidate, you don't put all your money in one CD, you have to put it in different names at different institutions. Because again, the insurance goes with the name of the institution. That's only up to 250, so don't put all your money in one bin. Because you're only gonna get insurance. That was one of the things I had to tell them. Barriers of entry was, by the way, I was putting in a 1 year CD. What was I getting for a 1 year CD? RBC is who I major broker, 50 bips. No. And it means I'm losing 150 bips if you believe inflation. Okay, barriers of entry. Figure that's good. Barriers to entry are good. If you're a home builder, there is no barrier to entry. All you need is a pickup truck and a hammer. If you're a commodity broker, high barrier of entry. Okay, so when you think about Orangetown, okay, how many banks have been formed since 2007? One. It was in Pennsylvania. It's named Bird in Hand. So a high barrier to entry when it comes to the formation of a new bank. That's one of the reasons why I believe, you'll see this when you review Orangetown, they were bailed out rather than closed. I think they should have been closed. Number of competitors. Orangetown doesn't have a whole lot of competitors. What was one of the reasons Orangetown got into trouble, we'll talk about this through the semester, they were getting into business lines they didn't understand. The other thing I will tell you to pay close attention to when you underwrite and when you look at Orangetown, look at the credentials for the buffoon called the CEO. He is a salesperson, he is not a banking professional. Okay, if you don't know anything about banking, his resume reads very strong. When you actually begin to peel away his credentials, he was a salesperson. Okay, but yet then he became president of a small bank, which had no real risk management and closed. Because what did he want to do as a salesperson? He wanted to increase sales. What did he not understand? The risk associated with the new product. And you're going to see it in the numbers. The other thing is you're going to need to underwrite. I love Orangetown. It's so much fodder. Okay? You're going to have to underwrite the senior managers of all of Orangetown. The chief risk officer. Okay? Underwrite his credentials. Okay? his credentials are gonna read like he has a master's degree. It's a 2-week seminar. Okay? It's a 2-week seminar. You will be better credentialed, you probably are because you're half done, okay? But essentially, if you quit now, you'd be a dropout. But you get my point. You are probably better credentialed than the chief risk officer of that bank, but yet that individual makes $250 a year. Okay, which will be in the public disclosure. Okay? So that's why, again, next to George DeBoer, you ought to have Thomas Quinn, because if he can make $1 million a year, you guys should be able to make 10. Okay, my personal opinion. Technological impacts, one of the things Georgetown did was they actually were trying to implement a mortgage system that people didn't touch. So auto approve. There's a recipe for disaster. Okay? You have to touch financial statements to underwrite. You have to visit the sites to underwrite. You have to understand what the numbers mean. Because again, if you're seeing rosy numbers and you go and it's a trash heap, unless you're into, trash, generating energy from trash or something, it's not good. Sales growth, is it sustainable? One of the things you're going to have to look at is revenue growth or sales growth within Orrstown. You're going to see huge growth between 2008 and 2010. When were banks throttling back? 2008 to 2010. Okay, another reason why as president he should have woken up and said, oh, hey, wait a second. Why am I outperforming all my peers? But what do most uneducated people do that outperform? They think it's the result of them rather than the environment. Okay, I've seen it happen. When I was CFO for America's Best Builder, the president, was the owner's best friend, had a high school GED. He thought he was the best thing in real estate from 2004 to 2006. Well, all you had to do was be highly leveraged in real estate to make money 04 to 06. And then they went bankrupt in it. Regulatory environment and what is the growth ability? Again, think about it from a Orrstown perspective. You're going to have to address all of these things and look at the financial statements. How much growth is there in central PA? Not a whole lot. Okay, not a whole lot. So how were they growing between 08 and 10? They were taking riskier and riskier loans. Industry economic characteristics, you want to look at the value chain, you want to look at Porter's 5 forces, and you want to look at economic attributes. When you talk about value chain, you want to look at the sequence involved in creation, manufacture, and distribution of products. Where are you? Okay? How raw product is transformed into a sellable asset. Is it a manufacturing facility or is it a service industry? What is the widget? What is the cost of change? What is inventory? You want to identify risk-return characteristics by stage. We're going to talk about real estate because that's near and dear to my heart. What are the 5 stages of real estate? Raw, entitlement, development, construction, permanent. And you're going to understand the different risks and where the most value is created. Where is the most value created in real estate? Entitlement. Who said development? That might be true in Costa Rica. In the U.S., it's entitlement. It's basically entitling land from agricultural to a commercial use. That's when you're going to get your greatest pop. Okay, I don't know about Costa Rica. But that's when you're going to get your greatest. Now, you also have the greatest risk. You buy a huge tract of land that's agriculture, and you're not able to entitle it commercial, you are screwed. Okay, because how much does a piece of raw land provide in terms of income? Nothing. Nothing. Okay. And I think I leased out my 126 acres to a farmer for $300 a year. Why? So that I can keep the agricultural designation, and I pay 126 a year in terms of taxes. The minute I don't have a farmer, it could be rezoned residential, but the thing is, because of the offset back, you can only build 1,000 feet back, so if they zone it residential, and then I can't get any permitting, I'm getting the double screw. Because I'm paying the residential taxes without an ability to put anything on. Okay, so the farmer hasn't figured out that I need him. Otherwise, he'd come to me saying, look, you're going to pay me to farm. And I would. Don't tell him that. But I absolutely would. And he could get a lot, he'd probably get $5 grand out of it. Okay, a year. Because I need the agricultural designation. how raw product is transformed, identify strategic positioning. Okay, real estate, we just talked about that, acquisition, raw land. We're also gonna talk about leverage. We're also gonna talk about the ability to finance. The most financing you're gonna get for raw, if you are a good credit, is about 50%. You wanna buy $1 million property, you'll be able to buy $500,000. So they're gonna want 50% on top. Entitlement pre-development, probably able to borrow 60. Infrastructure horizontal development, maybe going up to 80. Construction, maybe going up to 85. And then permanent, today's environment, maybe you can get 90. Maybe. Acquisition raw land, you can buy it with option contracts. Okay, you can tie up the land. 50% traditional financing. On Nevis, how much leverage can I get on land in the Caribbean? 100. Okay, it's probably the worst economy in the Caribbean. They're offering 100% land loan. %, joint venture opportunity, low risk passive. Entitlement pre-development, which the other issue is how much is an acre of land on the island of Nevis? This is what I wanted to get you guys to start thinking about. How much is an acre of land? Any idea? There's no reason you should know. Take a guess in US dollars. About 50 grand. Okay, for an acre of land. My point being is most of you are going to leave this program and go buy $60,000 cars. Go drive your clunker and buy an acre of land. You've now started your investment portfolio. Okay? You don't have to buy them either. I'm just giving you an idea. Think about those terms. Okay? Generally, when I talk to wealthy people, especially older, they say, how did you get your wealth? They said, well, I didn't consume it throughout my career. Okay? So think about that. Would you rather have a $60,000 and an $80,000 Mercedes or BMW, or would you rather have I'm not saying go buy used cars, a $35,000 or $40,000 car with an acre in the Caribbean? Okay? The acre in the Caribbean is perpetuous. You'll have it forever. The car is going to be gone in 10 years. Pardon me? They're not going to nationalize the land. They nationalize it. But it could. But I would say with the same, I would trust more in Nevis and Kitts than I would Obama. Okay, I'm being a little jovial, but you get my point. There's no Chavez on Nevis. Infrastructure horizontal development, 80% of cost. Traditional bonding is required to make sure that the development goes through. Vertical construction, 80-85%. You can get up to 97.5% by mezzanine. Mezzanine is basically high leverage debt, but it is priced as an IRR chaser. Why is an IRR chaser dangerous? Because it assumes certainty of business plan. Any delay is going to escalate your bar, and you know that from private equity. You probably love charging an IRR. They scared the hell out of them. Okay, it's good. They are only good, and I would only borrow from private equity in terms of an IRR chaser. I knew I had certain, where I knew I had scheduling certainty, or I had liquidated damages from a well-bonded contractor. Otherwise, you're going to eat them on. And then permanent stable, you're going to get 85 to 90. Equity sources, pension, REITs, insurance companies, they're going to be low key. And then just what I want to notice is, again, the capital stack is going to change. So you can actually look at a company, this is again when you're analyzing financial statements, you can look at the strategy and look at the capital structure. The CEO is saying one thing, but the capital structure is saying another. What does that tell you? Either the CEO doesn't understand, or the CFO doesn't understand. Okay? If there's a lack of understanding, maybe they're a bit short.
So this is saying that whenever there's a real estate transaction going on development, there's 5 stages of it. Throughout each stage, you keep financing that development to the next stage.
Exactly.
I guess until the end, once the finally comes in.
Then you could probably borrow 100%. For instance, if GW was the full tenant of a DC office building, you'd probably get 99%, if not 100%, 99% finance. Okay, but how do hedge funds make money? Okay, it's not difficult. Okay, how does a hedge fund or private equity make money? You get leverage on your leverage. Okay, your equity really isn't equity. Okay, because you have leverage at the project level, and then you put leverage at the portfolio level. So people think private equity are putting 20% into a deal, and really you're putting in 1%. It's just leverage on leverage. There's no magic. When I finally woke up to that about 12 years ago, I'm like, just taking high risk. And you're just not telling anyone, hey, you're a conservative project. We're only at the project level, leverage 20 to 80, when you're really 1 to 99.
You don't buy that market.
No, you don't. That's exactly right. And plus, you make what, 200 bits, if not 400 on that?
Those highly leveraged deals are over the counter to borrow money from the big banks.
Capital cost returns, just notice it goes down depending on risk. Capital cost versus project, all I'm doing is showing you how the risk goes down at cost of capital, which, by the way, you should have learned this from corporate finance. How do you know that you've maximized the return for a project or for a corporation? At what point do you know you've maximized return? At what point do you know you've maximized the value of an entity?
You said something?
Sell it.
I can't hear you.
When you sell it.
No. You've maximized value when you've minimized your weighted average cost of capital. Okay, because think about it, 1 plus R, when you minimize R, you maximize the total fraction. Right, so the point of minimization of capital, or cost of capital, is the point of maximization of value. And then Porter's 5 forces. 1, rivalry among existing firms. That's one of the things when you're analyzing the statements of Georgetown. How much competition is there? Well, there really isn't a whole lot. Okay, you're in south central Pennsylvania. Okay, it's Georgetown or not a whole lot else. Quantity of rivalry, or quantify rivalry in industry. How concentrated are the big boys? In DC and New York, very. Central PA, no. Threat of new entrants? Is Georgetown going to get a new competitor anytime soon? No. Okay. Is it going to get a large capital investment? Well, one of the things you're going to have to underwrite is the class action lawsuit by SEPTA. Okay, which is I forget what it stands for, but it's basically the metro system or the public transit system for Philadelphia. Okay, which is a class action lawsuit. I don't know what the latest is in the last 6 months. Does the brand make a difference? Do you care if you invest in a CD from Morristown or Bank of America? You shouldn't, but people do. Because the insurance is the same. One of the things I want to do to open your eyes is I want you to look at the rates offered by Georgetown versus local DC banks. You're going to see a 15 to 25 basis. That's huge. Take your friggin' money out of DC and put it in Georgetown. Okay, I happen to not like Georgetown. Put it in Georgetown-ish institution. Make another 20, 25 basis if you're in savings. It's free money, and you can do it over the phone or the internet. Okay, so get smart. Most of you probably have your money in DC, and you're like, holy crap. Okay, I'm being sandbagged by 20 bips by not moving my money out of DC. It's all online today. Okay? FDIC insurance is the same. Threat of substitutes, how easily can a customer switch? Think about this in terms of banking, okay? You would think it's easy to transfer your banking, but it's actually not because of auto pays. And I've got so many auto pays in and out, I wouldn't even want to think of changing. Okay, because I know something wouldn't be paid. Closed substitutes, competition increases, profitability decreases. And then buyer power, relative number of buyers and sellers in the industry. In real estate, is it a buyer or a seller market? Well, in DC, it's a seller market, which I actually think DC is bubbled at the moment. The rest of the nation, it's a bubble, I'd say, buyer's market. So depending on where you are. Buyer's price sensitivity, what are the income ratios? What are the financing? Peak to trough in residential real estate in the U.S. was what? How much value was destroyed? Peak to trough, 38%. What is the minimum equity requirement by FHA today? 3.5. We have learned nothing. Okay, that's 10% of the peak to trough. We have learned nothing. Supplier power is similar to buyers. Now, this would be one thing for Georgetown. They actually do have some supplier power in South Central PA because there aren't that many competitors. They want to be known, read their core business on their website. They want to be known as the local lender. I was at the shareholder meeting where I spoke my voice when there was actually this old gentleman, he looked about 90. His entire savings was in Orstown equity, which, first of all, that was idiotic. I didn't say that. Okay, but he said, for the first time, I'm now worrying about being able to pay for the college education for all my grandchildren. You know, to which I said, have you not heard of a little thing called diversification? But for so many years, they had just ridden the upswing of Orstown because it was slow and steady. Economic attributes, you have demand, supply, manufacturing, marketing, and investing in financing. Now, firm strategies and competitive advantage. Again, quality versus quantity. What is the strategy of the firm? Is there a competitive advantage? One of the things about banking is that I say there's really no distinction between products. You should be going after the one that provides you the greatest rate. It's a commodity. Now, I would say, and I don't think enough banks focus on this, that customer service matters. You know, one of the things that annoys me about BB&T is when I go into a local branch, it's not my normal local branch. And this is going to sound atrocious, but when I get treated like a normal person, I get mad. Okay? I get mad. So again, they need to focus on treating everybody well. Broad or narrow customer base, firm integration and market segment. Strategy analysis, nature of product and service. Okay, what are they offering? Think about this. When you go up to Orstown and you underwrite it, what is their main business? Are they offering loans? What type of loans? Do they want land loans? Do they want business loans? What they really want are business loans. How many new businesses are being formed in South Central PA? Not many. Go in and ask them about land loans. You know what they're going to say? Hey, whoa, wait, no, you do not want to give land loans. Okay, plus they're restricted because of the Federal Reserve, but you'll read that. Degree of geographic diversity. Okay, that was one of the issues or problems with Orstown. Okay, this was one of the things I called the chairman to the map when somebody asked him what their geographic footprint was, and he forgot one of the states. He didn't appreciate being called on that. I said, you said you were in West Virginia, and I held up a loan document for one of the clients. They were in West Virginia. Degree of industry diversification. And then residential real estate, home construction, subcontractor relationships. Again, what are the relationships? How do they treat? In my business, when I get an invoice from an individual, when do I pay? My terms are 30 days. Immediately. Okay, again, if it's something like my Verizon bill or something, I'll pay at the end of the term, but if it's for an individual person or a small firm, I pay immediately for goodwill. They always earn immediate pay. And I insist on my bookkeeper. Even before I've gotten the revenue for the contract, they will get the money. Because when I need something short fused, they do it immediately. The other issue is, I'm a small business, okay? No matter what you say, I'm a small business. I hate it when I'm asked to give trade credit. I'm not cheeky. All right, I want my friggin' money. You know, I gotta pay people too. Subcontractors, such as that, macro, micro, a number of competitors. Think about residential, easy. Assess financial statement quality. When you read the statements, and you'll have a 10K, you'll have a 10Q, do they tell you something? Or is it just a bunch of numbers that are trending? Are they informative? Okay, because think about it, the more informative, the more transparent you are, the more likely you're going to attract investors. The more investors you attract, the higher the equity valuation. You want to be informative. Do they represent the firm? Think about this, when you go into Orstown and you talk, okay, tell me a little bit about your bank, tell me a little bit about why I should bank here. Then you go back and read the statements, do the statements support the statements being made by the employees. When I was at Constellation, I gave a copy and insisted that the business plan be read by everyone in the division, because I wanted everyone to know what we do. When I traded commodities, I did not provide customer service. If you called me and you were one of our residential, 51,000 residential customers, I would say, look, is the meter correct? Because if it's not, you need to call the utility. Are you being billed the correct amount in your contract, which I already do? Yes. Okay, so what's the issue? Your bill's too high, turn down your thermostat, click. Okay? I only competed on price. It wasn't quite that rude, but I was close. Or I wasn't dealing with it, but the people who need to be working. Okay, I only competed on price. When a customer came in and said, hey, I'm getting a better rate at Pepco, what would I say? Go to Pepco. We're done. I only compete on price. Balance sheet, and by the way, that was one of the issues with the salespeople. Not only did I compete on price, but I would only give the salespeople 5 products to sell, A, B, C, D, or E. Why? Because I could build them accurately. If you couldn't fit a customer into my 5 bids, you were done. Okay? That's why I was able to, again, it was a commodity business. Financial statement notes, we talked about that. You have to read the footnotes to the statement. You'll be amazed at what is buried there. Don't be lazy. You can't gloss over a financial statement. Principles, you basically have U.S. GAAP and international standards. We're eventually going to international standards. My only fear is that the U.S. almost went to metric back in the 80s, and it failed miserably. You might be a little young to remember that. But you know, kilometers per hour is beyond U.S. populace. Who was I talking to? I was just in Iceland. Was I talking to you about that? What is the speed limit what is the maximum speed limit in Iceland? 90. Okay, when do they take you to jail? When you're doing over 150. I'm going to tell you how I know that. Alright, make sure that you're under 150, even when you're up north and in the east. I was doing 110. Income statement waterfall. Again, what you have revenue expense, which goes to NOI, with your debt payment, which is principal and interest, comes down to your net income, free cash flow. Should be easily understood and quantified. We talked about the 3 forms or the 3 flavors, if you will, of a cash flow, which is operating, investment, and financing. Make sure that you understand the changes in each and why there's a change in each. Operating, COO. Investing, maybe COO, CFO, in conjunction. Financing, CFO. Or not CFO, or Chief Financial Officer. Thinking about your official cash flow. Analyze profitability and the risk of a firm. Okay, what is the rate of return for investments? Okay, just because you've had a high rate of return doesn't necessarily mean that you are good. Think about Enron. What were they doing? They were basically taking all future product back to today. Okay, eventually that had to end. The music stopped. I was in energy trading at the time of Enron. Okay, it was a fascinating time. Anytime you talk to somebody from Enron, what would they tell you? What the balance was in a 401k. Oh, I just passed $1.2 million. I just passed $1.3 million. 6 months later, you know, bro. Literally. I was working for Clark Construction when they were building their headquarters. This is why I say you need to visit. You know what the greatest issue was for the lead project manager building Enron's headquarters? He ran out of upgrades. He literally was saying, I can't spend all the money they're giving. They had high ends on everything. The CEO had a cigar patio off of his office. The trading floor was 2 floors. It wasn't a single floor, it was double. And the chairman's office opened up so that you could look at all the money he was making. And then he'd walk around the chair. They were BK before the building was finished. Beautiful building. And all the rails were crystal. It was amazing. They even had a daycare, you know, for children. That was built in Lego box so they could move it if they got another building. That's fascinating. Leverage, debt type counterparties, and ratio analysis. Ratio measures. Short-term liquidity. Do you have an ability to finance current operations? You can look at current assets over current liabilities. You can look at QUIC. You can look at cash. All that's going to be in Shams, by the way. Again, I'm just giving you an overview. Okay, but again, you can be bankrupt and still have positive earnings. That has to do with cash flow. When I was CFO and I was worried, what would I do? I would watch the cash balances. In 2006, when I was not worried, okay, I wouldn't watch the cash balances. Fund flow indicates how funds are being used. Are they being distributed to owners, or are they being reinvested in terms of R&D or PP&E? What is the capital structure and long-term solvency? How much debt? Are they over-levered? What's the flavor of debt? What are the terms on the debt? There's an expression in finance. If you pick the price and I pick the terms, I will win every time. Think about it. If I buy something from you and I agree to pay you $1 trillion in 1 trillion years, who won? I did. That's also one of the issues between Eastern and Western finance, especially when it comes to real estate. Eastern finance tends to look at real estate as a multi-transaction or as a multi-generation transaction. The West tends to look at it as a 5 to 7 year flip. West uses an IRR, East uses a cash on cash. West uses a 10-year analysis, East uses a 30 or greater analysis. Return on investment, asset utilization, and operating performance. And then what is the ratio analysis? You're going to have to do this when you build your final project. You're also going to have to look at ratios in terms of Orrstown. Remember, it is just an A versus a B. It has to describe an economic viable ratio, and they're generally future-oriented. What is my favorite ratio? Anybody have any idea? Coefficient of variation, CB. Coefficient of variation. Why? Because it is the only metric that provides you probability of loss. It is the only metric that answers the second question of investing, which is what is the probability of getting your money back? Okay? And CB is risk over return. If I remember, or if you email me and remind me, I will send up a write-up that I wrote on how to calculate return of capital using CB and efficiency. Usefulness dependent on interpretation. Ratio analysis limitation. What is that? We can all agree that's the risk-free rate. But then when you take Jabor's class, it's the interest rate in the foreign currency when doing currency swaps. The point is there is no defined set within finance. In accounting, yes, everything's defined. In finance, no. And when I teach derivatives, I often feel badly for the students because I forget to tell them that I redefine, which again is a reason why it benefits you to do the reading prior to class, because you would have figured it out. No uniform definition and no governing body or standard. I was having a discussion with somebody. It was here today during office hours. I can't remember, but it had something to do with no uniform definition. Somebody was asking me the definition, and no, it was earlier today. Somebody was asking me the definition of a going-in cap rate, okay, for real estate. And I was basically saying it was NOI of the previous year divided by the sales price. But it could be NOI plus 1 like our reversionary cap rate. So my point being is, if I were communicating with somebody in a deal, I would have them define it on paper. Okay, because any definition is correct provided it's supported. Analysis process, you need to understand the objectives and the analysis. Very important. What is the whole goal? Okay? For Orrstown, what am I, obviously your goal is probably to earn an A. It should be to learn the material. You learn the material, you get an A. But what I really want you focusing on when you're doing Orrstown is, what type of trade is Orrstown? That's what you should always be thinking. How do I use this information? Because I don't want to give you bullshit work. Okay? I'm sure you've all had bullshit work in your undergraduate and graduate. That's not what we're here for. I want you something to be meaningful that you can make money. And again, if you think Orrstown is a steal, you long it. If you think it's a dog, you short it. If you think there's no volatility, which there hasn't been in the last year, reverse straddle or strangle. You can make money no matter what you believe. Well, provided you're right or you're consistent. But that's what I want you to think about. Generally use a combination of ratios. You can't look at one in isolation. I told you CB was my favorite, I told you that, but you can't look at just one. You have to look at multiple. 2 years ago, I had this class verify the beta as calculated by Yahoo Finance for a local bank. Gave them an hour to do it. They couldn't verify it. Okay, because you had a time frame, you had different holding period returns, couldn't come up with it. So what is the point? The point is you need to do your own analysis. Don't trust others. Factors affecting ratios could be operating conditions. What is one of the things affecting Georgetown? It's going to be the local economic performance of South Central PA. Okay, you're not going to blow the doors off anything in South Central PA. I'm from Pennsylvania, my family. Okay, I love it. Okay, but not a whole lot moves. A lot of it's very rural. Any economic events? Nothing really happens. I'm talking about South Central PA. What are there any industry factors? Nobody's moving into it. What is the management policy within Orrstown or of the company? Is the management policy filtering into the individual statements? Is it pro-risk? Is it negative risk? You might get another cigarette already. All right, ratio interpretation. They're not independently important. And again, I don't mind if you get another cigarette. I'm just teasing. Getting all the light pressure. Okay, important only by comparison. You need to look at prior, but you also need to look at future oriented. Again, going back to private equity, what's going to hurt you is what's in front of you. Typically, what's behind you is not going to hurt you unless you're dealing with litigation or potential jail. Okay, then the problem is it's done and you're just defending yourself. By the way, if you get nothing else out of this class, when somebody calls you, when somebody meets you and they identify themselves with a badge number, please, please, please don't talk to them. I'm represented. Go get yourself an attorney. Good friend of mine, Georgetown attorney, okay, somebody I respect, thought he could talk his way out. He talked his way right into jail. Okay, and he will say, look, it was my own hubris that put me in jail. I thought I could talk my way out. What did they finally incarcerate him on? Making a false statement to a federal officer. Which had he not talked, he would have been fine. Good friend of mine. Ratio class measures, you have liquidity, asset utilization, capital structure, profitability, and financial markets. Which, by the way, he did something for my classes. If anybody's interested, he literally every month would write a summary of what prison life was like. And I kept it. So I now have a summary of what, he was only in jail for a year, but a summary of what jail was like. Not pleasant. Not pleasant. I think something was stolen once, so all the guards came into church and made all the men disrobe, looking for the stolen product. In church, well, you know, the worship. Asset utilization measures firms' effectiveness in managing assets. Again, you want to look at cost of capital and profits. You want to look at as assets go down, you could lose profitable sales. Have you guys studied, do you guys study? Sometimes I mix my finance and my MBA. Have you studied just-in-time JIT at all, inventory management? Okay, that's probably an MBA concept. But basically what it means is you keep no inventory, but you keep relationships with suppliers so that everything arrives just on time. I am anti-JIT because it puts too much control in the suppliers. I also like to minimize my relationships rather than have multiple relationships. That's just my personal view. When I was home building, I always kept excessive inventory. And I would tell the superintendents and I would tell them out in the field, you know, lock it down, but I'd rather have excessive inventory and have control over the product and on the schedule than have to do it. Asset utilization measures, inventory turnover, sales versus inventory. How effective are you? What are you doing? Day sales outstanding. How quickly are you turning a receivable into cash? All right, you want to minimize that. You want to make sure that you get cash in the door as quickly as possible while not foregoing any sales. So look at your credit terms. Fixed asset turnover, sales divided by fixed assets, and then total. working capital turnover, net sales divided by current assets minus liabilities, and then number of times your working capital is turned over. How effective are you? You also want to make sure that you don't keep excessive working capital, because having liquidity costs money. It's a compression of yield.
Isn't it, I've heard sometimes when you buy the net working capital shouldn't include cash.
That's how you define it. I would include cash. You can use it to pay short-term liabilities. Okay, that's me. Okay, you can get other people with different definitions. That's why anytime I'm in a meeting and we're talking about a term, I'll have you define it. So I understand. Okay?
I would define it as excess cash and operating cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But make sure you agree on the definition. I don't even have to agree with your definition. I just want to understand it, and I'll accommodate it. Okay? I just need to understand it.
You use excess cash for, well, any business is different. So if you're paying like weekly salaries, you need more cash. So it's going to be between 2 and 5% depending on the business. And the excess, you can give it a dividend, so you can give it away. So
Liquidity issues, revolver creditability, you may have $100 million of credit, but you may be only able to draw down 90. Private equity is famous for that. Okay, so you can actually appear more liquid than you actually are. Make sure that you have letters of credit. When does a bank want to lend you money? When you don't need it. So negotiate your credit lines. Okay, long-term capital management. One of the issues there is they drew down their Chase line when Chase knew they had no ability to repay. Covenants, debt not shown, okay? What are the covenants on the debt? What is the flavor? What are the restrictions? How much liquidity do they have to keep? What are the terms? What are the leverages? What are the leverage requirements with covenants? And then you have to ask the company to make sure you understand. Liquidity issues, you could have slow-moving inventory, elastic versus inelastic. What are you actually holding? Okay, one of the issues with Caruso, when I was there as CFO, we had high-end capital items like dishwashers and refrigerators, sub-zero, that weren't moving. Okay, because people couldn't afford them. What did they want? One of the first things they were doing is the most profitable item for a home builder are the options. Okay, what were people doing? They were no longer buying options. Which I beg of you, if you buy a new home, make sure that you price on the open market all the options. And many times they just buy the skeleton and go do it yourself. Decrease capital expenditures, and then asset sales and dividend reaction. I remember when I was CFO, we were selling $850,000 homes on a quarter acre in Prince George's County to families making $110,000 with no deposits. And I would ask the superintendents, I said, how are they doing it? What do the houses look like? And they would say, Roger, in their living room they have lawn furniture. No joke. And then what did they do? They defaulted, a year later. Capital structure and solvency, financial leverage. It's the amount of debt and capital stock. So again, how are you structured? But you need to remember that debt is not equal debt. You're going to hear me saying that throughout the semester. What is the duration of debt? Is it fixed? Is it variable? What's it pegged to? Remember, for instance, if you're a U.S. real estate firm, would you ever want to borrow at a LIBOR indexed debt product? No, because the minute, if you're a U.S.-based real estate firm, the minute you borrow at LIBOR plus, actually it'd be LIBOR, it'd be LIBOR plus, it'd be prime minus, you're injecting global capital markets risk into a domestic entity. And then remember that leverage cuts both ways. It magnifies gains in an up market, but it also magnifies losses in a down market. Private equity. That's the thing about private equity. Everybody views it as a nirvana. When the market goes up, it is a nirvana. When the market goes down, they close the fund and open up another. Okay? And the managers, are laughing all the way to the proverbial bank. But they own. Okay?
you calculate ratios like debt to equity, financial leverage ratios, things of that nature. You use the market value or the book value?
Very good point. Okay? You could use both. You could do it on a book value, you could do it on a market value. Okay, make sure that you understand it, make sure that you are consistent when comparing the ratio.
And also another question I want to ask is, when you see debt to equity ratio, what is considered debt? Is it just long-term debt? Does it include capital?
I'm smiling because I don't always know. That's why you have to ask. That's why when I gave the class an hour, and I don't want to use an hour of your time to prove a beta, when the class couldn't prove a beta on Yahoo Finance, I looked at everybody, oh, you understand what it is? Yes. So you can reproduce it? Yes. Do it.
Because if you look at St. Cam, I look at the debt schedule, and you can see, you can calculate the interest based on like the long-term debt. There's some other expenses that are, it's minor, but I don't know where to find it. It could be a capital lease, it's not detailed. But I don't know how to quantify it, so I've never.
One thing you do if you're a private equity, you ask the CFO. What are the backups? What are the corresponding backups?
Phone call that.
I mean, you're not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to, but if you were in private equity, you could, and they would have to provide backup. But that's a very good question. Again, that's one of the confidences I want you to get out of this program and out of this class. If I don't know and I'm underwriting a company, okay, and somebody gives me an explanation that I don't understand, what do I say? No, I say, look, if I don't understand your explanation, it's you, not me. Try again. Okay, now, I have a couple more years on me, I have a bunch of degrees, and I'm confident and secure where I am. But that's generally how I view it. Because if somebody gives you an explanation that you don't understand, they probably don't understand it. And they're hoping you can gloss over it and move on. Okay, I saw that all the time when I worked in New York. Okay, New Yorkers are aggressive and fast talkers. You actually make them slow down and explain something, and you're going to see the holes in their armor. I don't really understand. The other reason I want you to understand definitions is I remember when I was younger, I'd be in meetings in Manhattan, when I didn't understand something, I would ask a question like, what is libel? And then I'd be trying to figure out what we were talking about in the meeting. Okay, and I would wait, I'd literally, do a sidebar of 5 minutes so I could figure out the topic, and then I'd come back on track. But I could, run this. So think about that. Don't be scared to ask a question. And if you, the other thing is you're 24. Okay, you have an advantage that I don't have. You truly can say, I don't understand. I mean, I'm going to say it, but from a different perspective. You can say, look, I need you to educate me. If I do it, it's going to be combative. Okay, and the other issue is at 24, do I want to help you? Yes. At 37, do I want to help you? No. I mean, I do here. But my point is, I'm going to be able, if you say something dumb in a meeting, well, that's not okay. We'll educate. If you say something dumb in a meeting, you're probably not going to want to work with your firm. Okay? So again, use the advantages you have. You only have a short window of a couple of years. You disagree? Debt management advantages. Interest is tax deductible. Think about the equation for WAC. One of the questions I would ask you in an interview: what is the equation for WAC? What I'm looking for is if you forget the 1 minus tax. Okay, it's just the proportional cost of equity and debt, remembering that debt is special. The 1 minus tax. Disadvantage, remember that interest expense is not paid, leads to insolvency. And then debt management analyst concerns. This goes back to exactly what you were asking, total debt. What is the total debt? Are there any contingent liabilities? I remember in 2007, my owner coming in, he owed over $100 million personally, and I needed a credit commitment on something. And he's like, yeah, whatever, there's $150 million ahead of him. I'll sign anything. And that's how bad the market had gotten. So he had no credit. He knew he had no ability to satisfy anything. So his signature is worth nothing. Okay, debt versus equity goes back to your point. What is debt? And the other issue is you can get into mixed products, something like warrants, where you can actually get financial products that are very difficult to classify as debt or equity, because it'll be equity with debt-like characteristics, something like preferred equity, or it'll be debt with equity-like characteristics, or basically call options on additional shares. So you have a graying of what they are.
That's another question. If the company issues monthly calculation and long-term debt, I know that you see it on the balance sheet, and then as the company pays coupons or whatever it is, that gets removed on the income, so you see it as an interest expense. But the actual figure that you see on the debt on the balance sheet stays there to held to maturity until it gets finally paid off. Is that true?
No, it depends. Exactly, it depends on the type of issuance. They may have forced retirement. in which case you're gonna see that as a step down on the balance sheet.
Typical bond, though.
There
Typical
is
30-year
in
bond.
that schedule that is prepared, until when you have amortization of that.
You're gonna amortize it over time. It doesn't sound like it's more, unless it's an interest-only payment,
Yeah, but
and it's gonna be outstanding the principal. So it depends on the type of product or the structure of the bond.
If it is advertised, had some of his principal, some of his interest, so that you have to extract the principal part of it
Yeah.
and remove that.
Yeah.
Absolutely you do. Absolutely you do. Have you guys built, if I asked you, I'm not asking you right now, if I asked you to build me an amortization table right now, could you do it? Okay, just wanna make sure, that's a very good interview question, especially for you. I wouldn't ask you. Not because I didn't think you could do it, but I would expect you to know you.
Schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a practice one of like PE firms, it's the revolving cash in, cash out.
As long as you can build one, and I'd say you need to be able to build one in under 5 minutes. And it needs to be able to, accommodate a constant payment mortgage, interest only, and a custom amortization. You should be able to build that for a period of 30 years in under 5 minutes in Excel. Again, I would not ask you, but I would require it of you. I gave you my laptop and say go. Income statement analysis for debt coverage, you want to look at debt service coverage ratio, that's going to be NOI divided by your debt payments. Now again, that's a great question, that's another question, what do you use in the denominator? Is it only interest expense or is it principal and interest? You would have to ask and read the loan documents when you're calculating DSCR, does it include P&I or just I? Okay, or does it include both tranches of debt or a single tranche of debt? Do you have multiple DSCRs? This is why you need to understand everything and read everything.
What is that?
Read the documents, okay? Read the documents. Generally, how I would do it is total debt, but I would also put a note down there that I calculated it as total debt in the pro forma. Okay? But again, that's why you need to understand. Okay, because the other issue is when I used to be an analyst, I'll tell you that the best way to fix a problem if you're a young analyst, because you're going to make a mistake. Okay? One of the ways to fix your problem is generally you're looking at cash flows on an annual basis. Generally, you're assuming all the cash flows come in at end of period. If you make a small mistake, what should you do? Use an advanced function, shift all your cash flows to mid-year, and hopefully that negates your problem. Don't say anything to anybody. Okay? I did that once, see? Okay. I had an error in the spreadsheet. Debt structures, again, total debt to total assets includes current and non-current. Used as best comparison when you're looking at an industry. So you want to use it as a upper level or high level. Use best, must understand why they deviate from averages. Just because you're deviating from an average, whether it be high or low, doesn't mean it's good or bad. You need to understand the reason for deviating. Okay, again, let's assume you're all borrowing for this degree, $75,000. Is that good debt or is that bad debt? I would define it as good debt. If you're going into the public sector, I might reclassify it as bad debt, because you'll never recoup the 75 grand. You go into private equity, partial quarterly bonus. You're done. That would probably be over years. That's the other thing that bites for you guys. In my day, we made real money. In your day, you don't make it. It's sad, but when I was 27, 28, I was making 90 plus bonus, and they were screwing me. Now, and I was an analyst, okay? Now, an analyst, would kill for that salary in general. Okay? That was how many years ago? And I was convinced that was when you could buy a house in Arlington for $200,000. Today, they're 8. There's been no wage growth. And remember, they were screwing me when I was saying that. I didn't realize how good I had it. Debt management interest coverage indicates firms' ability to meet their debt obligations. Because again, if you can't, it's a matter of insolvency. Indicator of short-term solvency. And then you want to look at times interest earned, which is going to be EBIT divided by interest expense. And then look at debt management, look at debt service coverage ratios. Remember EBITDA, good for corporate valuation, but it is also the last non-accounting adjusted number on the income statement. Make sure you understand what is there. Look at the coverage ratios. Now, fixed charge of coverage ratios. By the way, I'm reviewing this. I'm going to review this quickly. One, because I realize it's late. You've got long eyes. Okay, which is fine, I get it. But the point is, all of this is going to be in the Shams outline. This is basically what your first quiz is about. What I'm gonna do is give you financial statements and basically have you calculate the ratios. So what am I doing? I'm testing that you can read them from a basic perspective and summarize them in forms of ratios, and I'll ask you to tell me what it say, because you'll be looking at 3-year trends. Okay? Yeah.
Evaluating, especially because in this case, the bank, when evaluating it, what about using UPPR? Those seem like really, they're already kind of organized in comparable ratios.
They can be, but again, do your own analysis. And that's also why you're here. Can I get a cigarette? No.
First of all, is that fixed charge compensation ratio? What is exactly this ratio for, like, fixed charge compensation?
You're basically looking at the change in the fixed interest coverage, okay? Because again, you want to know what it's doing between the time periods. So you're looking at earnings before income. Notice you're looking at your lease expense because you want to look at it from a real estate holding perspective. Notice it has lease expense and it doesn't have ownership expense. Okay, so you're looking at real estate holdings or the lease or the interest attributable.
Specific to the real estate.
Well, that's another great, again, thank you for pulling me out of my hole. That's another great point. You're going to have ratios that are more attributable to certain industries than aren't certain industries. Okay, what is near and dear to my heart? Real estate.
That's why that never thought.
That's EB, so that's EBI, so that's
That's
earnings.
PBT, no.
Oh, it should be a T there.
No, it's earnings before interest. I have to remember. Remember what I do. I do everything pre-tax. Profitability ratios, you have operating performance and return on invested capital, because you want to know, again, from an equity standpoint, what people are earning. And then operating performance, you're going to have gross profit, which is going to be your gross profit divided by your net revenue. That is going to be a high level. Is that increasing or decreasing over time? Look at it from a trend analysis, okay? But when you look at it from a trend analysis, you're comparing yourself to yourself. You also want to be able to pull it out, so you're going to have to use high-level ratios when comparing it to the industry. And I don't recommend using Schwab's or using Bloomberg's ratio, because you don't know how to calculate it. Pre-tax profit to sales, earnings before tax, to net revenue, and then net income to sales. And then return on assets. Again, for all the assets that you've invested, you're going to have net income divided by average total assets. How do you determine average total assets?
1 year book value of assets in calendar year, Y minus 1 and Y divided.
Exactly. Very, very simple. Be consistent. Document how you're calculating it, and then when you're doing the analysis for Orstown or on your final exam, make sure that you are consistent. Return on equity is going to be the return to owner. It's going to be net income over average equity. Now, calculating average equity can get gray. Okay,
Book
essentially,
value or market value.
it could be book value, it could be market value. Do you have new issuance? Do you have debt instruments that have converted to equity in the middle? Okay, so this can actually be complicated.
Shouldn't it always be market value? What's going at now? Book value can be misleading.
Absolutely. Look at market value. Okay.
That makes sense too. I guess I never know what to use these scenarios.
That's the whole point. You have to be consistent and you have to do the analysis yourself. Define a set of rules for you, and when it's your money, you define them.
The same applies for that.
Yes.
Isn't the key the benchmark?
Yes.
Because if you're benchmarking against companies that on their balance sheet they're at market to market, then you can know your cost because you're going to have.
So then you're going to have to make sure you put it every single. I mean, some websites might have market value, some might
Yeah,
have book
but
value.
you know, in some companies which are not like a lot of intensive in like in PPE, in that book value will be very close to the market value. So then you can go on for book value because it's less volatile as compared to market value, and that's why you go for book value.
To your point. I never said it was easy. It was easy, everybody would have money.
So for a manufacturing company, I guess you would have definitely go for market value equity, but for an IT company, you can even go for book value because there's no debt on the sheet, so you can go for
Or if
book
you're
value.
manufacturing, you have a company that does build a plant. So the depreciation
saying only for the equity ratio. Otherwise, EV by EBITDA would be a better.
I'm not disagreeing. Okay, do the analysis yourself. Okay, ROIC, ROE is going to equal ROA, no debt. And then the financial markets, okay, what do a lot of people use? Okay, did I tell you, bless you, I told you earlier that I liquidated 20% of my portfolio this morning? Again, mostly because of PE ratios, okay? Because of Israel, because of Russia, because of the Federal Reserve. Once you get to, again, I'm a pig, not a hog. I get fat, I don't get slaughtered. Okay. I'm still 56% equity in my liquid account. Okay, but I was becoming hawkish. Price cash, price per share, cash flow, and then market flow. And then trend analysis, which is exactly what I'm telling you. Look at the beginning, look at the end, look at the delta, look at the percentage change. I recommend looking over 3 or 4 years, but you can't just do a trend analysis. You need to look at the management team. Has the management team stayed intact? If they have not, a trend analysis probably isn't going to be very valid. Okay, then probably what you want to do is a cross-sectional analysis across the industry. Or you want to look at the senior team or the CEO at their previous company. How well did they do? So think about that. You can't look at it from a historic perspective. Orrstown isn't Orrstown isn't Orrstown. You have to look at who's managing, who's controlling the rudder. Okay, that becomes very important. And just my own personal rule of thumb, I would rather lose money with bright people and credentialed people than non-bright credentialed people. So I don't invest in companies long, but I don't do a whole lot of long investing, or a whole lot of short-term investing, I should say, with non-educated or well-educated credentials. Comparative ratios, you can go to Value Line, D&B, Charles Schwab, Bloomberg. You can get them all there if you want a high level. But the problem is, how can you recreate them? A lot of times they don't define their own ratio. Ratio is vastly different by industries, depending on. And then ratio considerations. Just remember, they're best at the industry level. If you want a benchmark, and this goes back to how do you choose the benchmark. When I was at the fund, we did high leverage development construction lending. Our benchmark at that time was Lehman's Diversified Bond Index Fund. And I was saying the whole time, this is the wrong index for us. Because when the market was going gangbusters, it was easy to beat the benchmark. What happened when everything turned? Well, we couldn't beat a diversified bond index. The other issue is when you're only comparing yourself to an index, what are you ignoring? Volatility or risk. Benchmark skewing, you can have seasonal factors, you can game ratios, and then ROE issues. Remember that you exclude risk. And additional considerations when you're looking at something. Who are the customers? When you're looking at Orrstown, you're going to be looking at non-sophisticated borrowers. Okay, South Central PA. It's not like DC. It's not like New York. What is the product base? Are they doing business loans? Are they doing land loans? Look at the S&L crisis. Why did the S&Ls implode? Simple answer. They went from doing mortgages in their local area to doing business loans and commercial real estate loans. They were providing products that they didn't understand. Domestic versus international business, what's the competitive environment, what are the future prospects? And then when you're underwriting something, look at who's lending to them. Are they high leverage lenders? Lenders of last resort. And then a quick overview, take this to heart for your final exam, because you're only going to have 4 hours. So look at the change in sales over time. Look at everything on a high level. You only are going to have 4 hours. Normalize the income statement, the sale, and you can build, I have told you this on your exam, you can build all the templates you want going in to the exam. I'm perfectly fine with that. All right, now the one thing apparently they're going to take from you is internet access. Okay, so you're not going to be able to email the product out to somebody and then have a team in a foreign land working on it to email it back to you in 3 hours. Normalized balance sheet set. Did I tell you I was telling somebody my story when I was here? Have you guys had a class in law? True story. True story. I was living with a woman, Harvard undergrad, Yale Law. And the professor said you can use any resource you want for the final exam, and I'm giving it to you. Is that what happened?
She said that. I don't know.
Okay, this is a true statement. Whoa, this is a true story. Okay, so you can use any resource you want that you can talk to people, they can have. Absolutely. So it's clear on the ethical issue. So I hand the exam to Jennifer, and I said I need this back in 6-8 weeks. Okay, the day before the exam, I was in a team of 4. Day before the exam, I said, God, where's my exam? What exam? Are you freaking kidding me? I got 3 people counting on me. All right, I've done nothing all semester, not really. But they've been doing all, I got to produce this. So you're like, what do you want me to do? I said, stay up all night and do it. I clearly cannot do anything. I've done nothing in this class. I am going to fail, and 3 others are going to fail. So she pulled all night, again at Yale. Valedictorian High School, blah, blah, blah. Okay, she hands it to me the next day, having pulled it all night. I'll never forget it. She's like, at best, this is a C-. What happens when I get the exam back? This is the best exam I've ever seen. Where did we get this? Great quality work. Would have been a C- exam. So I don't know if that was the thing. Are you really allowed to use any resource? That was exactly the exam I had. Has this person been teaching for 14 years? Please tell me about it. It might have been that. I mean, the comments I got were that, hey, I even turned it in Jennifer's handwriting. Okay, we did nothing. When I tell you we did nothing, we did not was legal. Okay, it was not. Okay, it was, I cleared it beforehand. Okay, there was no ethical issue. So I can honestly, that was one class I didn't learn anything. Okay, because I didn't do it. Well, that's not true. Okay, I was sleeping next to the person who knew everything. Okay, that was, sometimes the greatest accomplishment ever. All right, compare with industry ratio. Then performance standards. I'll pick up here next week. You guys are tracking. All right, I will email you out. Oh, we're good on that. I did it. I will email you out. I have your emails. I will email you out these slides. I will email you out next week's slides. I will email you out the syllabus. I will email you out some of the. I will email you out the memorandum for Orangetown. Now, again, I will grade very lightly on Orangetown 1, Orangetown 2. I will grade with a sharper pencil 3 and 4. The reason being, I don't think it's fair to grade harshly when you don't know. Different professors have different stress points. You will see what I'm stressing in 1 and 2 when you have my building on that. Okay, so I'm light on the pen in 1 and 2. I am forward on the pen in 3 and 4.
Kevin.